What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck here again. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As you guys can see, the title of the video, we're going to be talking about show 5, our Nature Boy, aka Eligio Bishop series, The Cult of Atlanta. So, in case you are just tuning in for the first time, or this is the first show you've caught, there are 4 other shows that I have done thus far. And I want to give a hearty shout out to Hood Horrors. They have been able to, I believe it is a young man, he's been able to creatively put some great content together regarding Nature Boy, who was a cult leader who's now in jail. Um, so as we go through these series, you'll kind of be able to kind of get in, perspective on who he really is, Nature Boy, and you know the number of times the cult name changed in general was you know um, annoying, but the actions, the behavior, and then of course the violence that ended up ensuing from this cult that led to him being criminally charged and now sentenced to jail for the remainder of his life. And that is in court documents. I do not have to make that up. So, um, first and foremost, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. If you're enjoying the content that is coming out here from the LLC, please consider subscribing and becoming a member. We do have members only live streams at least once a week. Try to, just get the opportunity to chat with you all, that you guys be able to come into a safe space, to be able to converse and talk about whatever you want to talk about, and we have a good time. We laugh and just enjoy, each other's company. And I just want to thank you all for the support that you guys have given me here. There are over 1 billion users on YouTube, but I am always honored when you guys choose to click on my videos and watch my content here. And I thank you all for that. Thank you all to the supporters, to the moderators, and to the members. Thank you all so much for holding it down here in the LLC and for believing in me and giving me a chance to, bring forth some content for you all. So, as always, please make sure you go and check out Hood Horrors YouTube channel. Hood Horrors will be tagged, and the entire playlist is worthy of binging, if you ask me. I've seen, I think it's 37 episodes so far, and then there's a bonus video that he recently released out on Saturday. Happy belated birthday to him. That I watched, and it was so good. So continue to keep up great content, Hood Horrors. Don't stop. Please don't stop. This is by far, I think, as far as a cult that I've been alive to be able to witness and see unfold, and to be able to even um just give some commentary on, and for the cult to be in the same state that I'm in, is mind blowing. So I just want you to know your content definitely is appreciated. Please keep doing it. Do not stop releasing information on Nature Boy. So let's get to it. First thing I want to do is go through some just basic information um, of who he is. And I try my best to open each video with just some background info um, on some research that I've, done, of course. And then we get into the video from Hood Horse, and we just kind of, watch and go through it and give commentary. And I want you guys to please make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section below as well. This is from ConanDaily.com, and it just gives 13 things about Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy, aka whatever he calls himself now. Eligio Bishop is an American man from, he lives currently, his last residence was in Atlanta, but I believe he is from New York. So he lived, of course, in New Jersey. He lived in South Carolina, in Indiana. He's lived out the country. So these are just some 13 points that the article put together that people should definitely keep in mind when you're watching these series, because it speaks to the violent nature and the criminal aspect of this cult and Nature Boy, and it kind of helps you to understand why he's now in jail for the rest of his life. That is the sentence he received. Okay. So in 2009, he was arrested for forcible entry in Georgia. 2011, he was charged with theft and was arrested for aggravated battery. 2014, he filed for a business license and opened his own shop in Georgia. I think it was a barber shop. In June 2016, he visited Honduras. I do believe he lived out there for a short period with the initial members of the cult that he started. In 2017, he went to Costa Rica with his Carbon Nation followers, including Kyla Reed, then 21 of Newfoundland, Canada. Later that year, the group was forced to leave the Central American country. So Kyla Reed was a young lady who from Canada was reported missing. She told her parents that she was going out on a missionary trip, and she went to Costa Rica to join this cult, and no one knew. So, of course, when she did not return home from the missionary trip that she told her parents she was going on at 21, now you would think, just tell the truth. I mean, no one is going to be enthused about somebody joining a cult, but or what's perceived to be a cult. However, why lie about going out on a mission trip and then you don't return and then get upset when people report you missing? Her family loved her. So, they were concerned about her that when she didn't return, they reported her missing. And this is all the way in Canada. And at this point, he had shifted from Honduras to Costa Rica with this cult. And mind you all, the name of the cult had changed a few times. Went from like the initial name in the, I think, show two. They go over all, I mean, just in that one show, I think it was changed two or three times, either show two or show three. The name changed at least three times, and they went from Melanation then to Carbonation. So it was hard to keep up with the code as well because he continued to change the name of the code. But why change the name if you're not doing anything wrong, right? So in February 2019, former Carbonation member Velvet Gabriela Marquez gave birth to their daughter, Eliana Bishop Marquez. In June 2019, he was detained in Nicaragua. On June 7, 2020, he and 20 other Carbonation members, including Kendra Carter, went to Puna, Hawaii. On June 8, 2020, they went to the beach where he petted a sea turtle. They broke the mandatory 14-day quarantine amid the new coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. So they were arrested, except Carter and another female members, so they could remain with their children without involving CPS, that's Child Protective Services. On June 15, 2020, he and two other Carbonation members were released from jail in Hawaii after pleading no contest to violating the state's quarantine. The remaining 18 other members were later released, and they were all sent back to California. So they've been kicked out of a few good countries. And Hawaii, of course, belonging to the U.S., was sent out of Hawaii and sent to California. That's a lot to have to do when you have children. And mind you, Nature Boy by this point had already had two children prior to even forming the cult. Then got another young lady pregnant over a waffle, and had her kicked out over a waffle. Sorry. He got her pregnant, and then he kicked her out of the cult because she wanted to eat a waffle when he was in jail. And then, of course, he had another child by Velvet Gabriela Marquez. So, what, we're at four children, one of which he didn't really claim because he kicked the mother out over her eating a waffle. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely absurd. So, let's see here. On June, well, I'm sorry, on the evening of April 13, 22, the DeKalb County Police Department Special Victims Unit arrested him at a home he rents on Arbor Chase, Cumming, Georgia. He was charged with rape, false imprisonment, and sending explicit messages and booked into the DeKalb County Jail in Decatur, DeKalb County, Georgia. In April 23, he turned 41. On November 3rd, 23, he appeared in DeKalb County Superior Court and was denied bond. On March 1, 24, he was found guilty of R-word, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of prohibition on nude or explicit electronic transmissions. A judge sentenced him to life without parole plus 10 years. So you got to see that here. He's in jail for the rest of his life. He was sentenced to life without parole plus 10 years. So he'll be there forever. And I want to just touch back on the Kyla Reed situation here. She did leave and go back to Canada. Once he did a live stream, and I believe it is show 3, where he realizes he's a black man. She was a Caucasian girl, and all of half of Canada was looking for her. And for some reason, he wanted to uplift, melanated people, but the women he beat and abused and mistreated were black women. But when people were looking for Kyla Reed, he understood not to go there and not to mess around with that. And he made sure she was sent back to Canada. He's just absolutely hypocritical in every way. But I wanted to just kind of share this article with you all before we get into the video. So let's get to it. I'm excited. Make sure you guys check out Hood Horror's YouTube channel. Give him a like, leave a comment there, and let him know you appreciate these fantastic videos he's doing. And that way he'll hopefully keep releasing them. We appreciate this great content. This has been an excellent series, and I am just excited about watching them again. Every single episode he's released, we're going to check it out here in the LLC. So let's get to it. This is part 5 or show 5 here of Nature Boy, the dumb coat that won't go away. Let's go.
Previously on the rise and fall of Nature Boy and Carbonation.
During an Instagram Live, Nature Boy would have both Tron and Musa share their experiences with Sheba in graphic detail.
24 with a vagina that won't even let a finger in it. You tried to be with her first try, and you said, I can't get in. I even think like, well, you're just sensitive, very sensitive. I was like trying to get it in, couldn't even do that. It was like, it was a flop up and down. See how big my pinky is? This ain't that big. Like, I can break my pinky in there without hurting it. I'm like, damn, like, shit.
In that moment, I just remember just like feeling broken. It was just like, just humiliation. That's what it was. It was a humiliation ritual.
In May of 2018, 5 months after Sheba joined the group, Nature Boy invited her into his tent that he shared with Eliana. Although the details of what happened next would change over time, the night resulted in Nature Boy breaking her virginity.
I knew that she was like a virgin sent to me from the universe as a gift. I already felt it, but I just couldn't take it no more. I told Eliana one day, like,
so just as you all know, the show typically starts off with where it left off from the preceding episode. So the first part of it, and I'm glad it was sped up a little bit, because he's this cult leader now. It's going into detail about, he's asking 2 other male members of this cult that tried to have relation with this young lady because she was a virgin, of course, and for whatever reason she wanted to be that way. And they both tried to, have relation with her, and it didn't work. Perhaps because she just wanted to remain celibate. She wanted to remain a virgin. She didn't want to give herself up. But, Nature Boy, being the cult leader that he is and evil, as you just heard, he ended up taking her virginity. And it's disgusting to hear how he goes about bragging on this and then claimed that the other young lady was his wife. So when people try to say that this was not an S cult, I mean, this is the epitome of an S cult. When everything is built on the aspect of you having some S relation with someone, which is why he's in prison for the rest of his life, plus 10 years. Let's go.
Eliana, the girl for me, yo, I'm just letting you know that, like, I already know that I'm going to be able to break her virginity.
He
had sex with Sheba and he took her virginity. He wanted me to console her. He wanted me to be there for her. And I just did not understand that because I didn't break her virginity. I was totally against it.
I had to ignore Eliana to do what I knew I could do in that moment. And then I did. Like, I opened that shit.
And so I had to sit there and watch it without wanting to do it.
Nature Boy made Sheba his second wife, but that would only last a few days.
Eliana wasn't allowing no woman to feel comfortable enough in our space. So I just kind of like backed off of Sheba at the time.
Later on, I ended up getting back with Tron because I just felt safer with him.
As all of this was going on between the group, amongst the neighbors, rumors about carbonation were beginning to circulate. Unknown to Nature Boy, while he had been in Cancun, Miss Connie had started digging into his past.
She done went online and researched me. Oh, and she done told the whole village about I'm a pedophile. Oh, I'm a cult leader. But now she done got paperwork.
And he is. I mean, the fact that he took her virginity and then just sent her back to another male member when he said everything, it's like he felt like he needed to try to, pursue her for some reason. And she wasn't interested in him. And then he just kind of flung her back to some other male cult member. And that was it. He said that he had to ignore Eliana and just do what he had to do. No one told him to do that. But if the other men would have stood up to him and, it was more of them than it is of him, probably beat his ass a little bit, he would not have been able to do that. But they didn't stand up to him.
Oh, she done went to the police station. She telling people all kind of crazy stuff about me, right? She's trying to make life hard for us. Like, just spreading rumors to all the other expats, the white old people that move here. The villagers don't even give a damn. But it's just the expats. So this white lady from America that did research on me, now she's spreading these rumors. But at the end of the day, I'm not going nowhere. Why am I leave? I would never left the first time if I didn't have my little son with me because it was a misunderstanding. I ain't running from nothing. The expats here, they nervous. They see a black dude. They heard he a cult leader. They hear I'm a pedophile. What they gonna do? They gonna go start spreading rumors and talking to each other like old white folks do. This is what they do. And they go to the authorities. Now, the governor want to talk to me.
Why is he scared if he didn't do anything wrong?
The government is coming to interview me today. They're coming with cameras and everything. And I'm make sure I'm gonna record it live for y'all. They coming at 1 o'clock.
The prearranged meeting between Nature Boy and members of the local Belizean government would never occur. Carbonation would pack up and leave hours before it was supposed to happen. Once again, they would head back to Cancun.
Belize Live News. The chairman of Consejo Village, Mr. Christian Loza, has reported that the meeting scheduled for today, Monday, May the 28th, with local authorities and the group leader Eligio, Bishop of Carbon Nation, the religious cult, has been cancelled as the group packed up all their belongings in their white van this morning and abruptly left.
Yep.
They may be headed into southern Belize, but officials say at this point there is no need for alarm.
I don't think we need to get too excited. Concerned? Of course we have to be concerned.
We will keep you updated as this story progresses.
Before leaving the country, they would stop at the airport to pick up a new member that was set to arrive that day. 29-year-old Aaron Dixon, who would later be known as True, was an 8-year Army vet from Butler, Georgia. He had been honorably discharged from the service 7 months prior.
It had got to a point where I started seeing through the bullshit. Not just the Army, but Babylon in general. I got introduced to the conscious community. Dr. Umar Johnson, Brother Polite, Young Pharaoh. I quickly got out of the conscious community because I understood that they were only trying to perpetuate a black version of the European mindset. And I don't know.
You know what? What he says about Umar Johnson is legitimate. Umar Johnson is a scammer. He's a scam. He's a con artist. He's been trying to allegedly build a school for over a decade and it still has not been completed. But he lies about how much money he's raised for the school. That's a scam. Period. It does not take over a decade. If you've bought a building that is already established and built to even, mimic what a school layout would look like, and all you're doing is renovating it, it does not take 10 years to do that. And he was just online, a few days ago, begging for money, talking about his accounts were frozen. But it's of no fraudulent error on his end, which is something that the bank would not even ask. If they're telling you that your account is frozen, they will tell you why. Is it because Umar Johnson just doesn't have any money? And why ask for help if you do? Just, things to consider. He's still a scam artist.
Where, boom, there's a video on YouTube that says, Master Teacher drops never before heard information. In one goddamn video, boom, everything I had done before was bullshit.
Sheba was automatically attracted to Aaron as soon as they picked him up from the airport.
When I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be bad because I'm supposed to be with Tron, but I know that's my husband.
The group would stay in Cancun for less than 2 weeks, and during this time, some new members would join them. Angel, a 20-something-year-old Dominican from New York City, had been trying to join Carbonation for months, but due to certain circumstances, he wouldn't be able to. He would finally join them soon after they arrived in Cancun, and Nature Boy would give him the name Natural.
I told him I was on my way to Costa Rica, right?
But by that time, he had got deported from there. So I was just like, damn, I ended up migrating back to the Northern Hemisphere, you feel me? By then, he was in Belize. So I told him, yo, I'm going to Belize. But before I headed out to Belize, he actually told me, yo, we'll be in a different location. So he sent me that location. So I vibrated there, which happened to be at the time Cancun. So this is where we finally connected in Cancun. When I first got out there, I went out there with a young lady. You understand what I'm saying? We was in the United States together, and we vibrated out of here together.
The young lady Natural had brought along with him, Nature Boy would name Mama Nina. Natural had introduced her to Nature Boy videos a few weeks prior to them leaving the U.S.
When I first saw Master Teacher online, it kind of sparked me how the women were living here, and it made me realize, like, wow, like, I'm so out of touch with myself. Like, I'm in Babylon working 2 jobs, and basically, you know, trying to play a role as a man. And I'm just like, you know, I never really understood my feminine side. I never understood balance.
Natural himself had first come across Nature Boy while researching organic cures for herpes after contracting it from his ex-girlfriend.
When I became aware of the Honorable Master Teacher, I would watch his videos and I would be sparked and enlightened. Like, yo, I gotta get the fuck out of Babylon. I gotta live conducive for me. I gotta live this disease free. But one day he made a video about.
Okay, so I want you all to take note. This is the first time you're in these series of someone coming in with a venereal disease. Okay, he could have just went to the hospital and got some medication. But this is the first time you'll hear, like, it's said flat out, someone came to this cult with a venereal disease.
Usher. And he was basically talking about how the public is turned on Usher and are criticizing him based that he was diagnosed with herpes and all this shit. And he made it so clear. He just gave me divine truth and I was healed. Because what it does is, the way you heal DNA is with divine truth based on objective facts. So as soon as I heard his words, I was instantly healed. There is no disease, man. All diseases are literally symptoms of imbalance. His knowledge healed me, you know what I'm saying? Mentally, above all. There ain't no herpes, no AIDS, no HIV, no cancer, no diabetes. No, it's called imbalance.
Days after Natural Mama Nina arrived, Nature Boy would call.
It's called science and blood work. Where are you getting this from? Herpes is a virus, by the way. No one is judgmental of someone who chose to let it, you know, be known to the public, especially someone like Usher. You're an entertainer. You're a public figure. And you got out that you had a venereal disease. That you don't catch that if you're, you know, using condoms and using protection. That's recklessness. So, you know, it's crazy to think he's sitting here saying there's no AIDS, there's no HIV, as if the AIDS pandemic never existed for decades around the world, mind you, and that millions of people have not, you know, just didn't die from it. Never mind all of the history behind this horrible disease, but okay. Ugh.
One of his random and spontaneous group meetings.
Bishop would often do these meetings where he would have everybody say who they're attracted to.
Although True had only been with Carbonation for less than a week, he wasn't shy when he was asked the question.
He took Sheba away from Tron. He said, I like fuck with Sheba. I know he's with her, but I'll take her.
When Aaron said he was attracted to me, I was like, bet, because I was already thinking that. Right when I said I'm attracted to him, Tron scooted like 3 feet away from me.
The relationship's wild, though, I tell you, dog. Like, women come to me, you know what I'm saying, that she might hop over, you know what I'm saying, like, nah, I don't want to do this dude, now I want to go over here.
It would be during the same meeting that Nina would admit she was attracted to Key.
I didn't leave the United States with this female to try to be a unit with her or present ourselves as something we not. We just met. So I didn't expect her to be so down with me, but I definitely didn't expect her to jump ship that easily. And they asked me, like, what do I think about her saying she's attracted to him? And I was just like, yo, I want what's for me. Clearly that's not for me. And it was like a 4-hour meeting. And I'm like, yo, it's not even that serious. You want to go when she can go.
Key and Nina would start a relationship
4-hour meeting,
as well as True and Sheba.
Me and Aaron started talking, trying to establish a relationship with each other, like just trying to get to know each other.
Carbonation would eventually leave Cancun and drive 11 hours south to Palenque, a town in the southern Mexican state of Chiapas. They would rent a beautiful 5-bedroom home surrounded by at least 3 acres of land. The property was surrounded by fruit trees, and Nature Boy would nickname it the Garden of Eden.
There's a mango tree right here.
Yeah, I have to remember now, he's renting these places and he's using the other members' money to do it. This is pure cult-like behavior. They take everything you have, you basically surrender your entire life to this cult and to the cult leader. But you don't have any sway or say so in how your money that you've just given over to this dumb cult is being spent.
Right there. These ain't right yet, but they about to get the 2 coconuts.
Banana, all kinds of plantains, avocado, avocado trees, sour oranges. We got our south stop over there in the back too.
2 south stop trees back there. Hey, ain't this where the monkeys be at?
Yeah, Howler monkeys.
Howler monkeys, all jungle. This all jungle. All of this is jungle. Look at the love birds. I love myself. How y'all feeling?
Good.
What up? Good? We got the beautiful banana cheese. We already done picked this. Got our tents out. All right, let's see the crib.
He was so jealous of their relationship. There's Mama Nina. Mama Mia.
See a building in the back. Soldiers, they gonna wait right there. They know the queen is up here. Hey, what's going on? Oh, I like that. What you doing? Keep a healthy perspective? Yeah. Okay. Now a little area up here.
It's a nice house.
Just like he done in Costa Rica, Nature Boy will use the tropical scenery as a useful tool to get more people to join.
Family's frequency. And look at the frequency I'm on, you guys. Shit, you can't beat this.
Babylon is the old world. It's dying. The future is Nature Boy and Carbonation. We are the real future. Everything else is going to soon fade away.
Carbonation members were expected to get on social media daily to promote his B6 diet and also try to recruit new members.
Here at Carbonation, we follow a strict diet, the B6 diet. Hey, I wanted to give y'all a meal regimen on the B6 diet, how we eat here. So basically from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., we eat nuts, hot water, which is tea, water, and fruit. Then at 12 o'clock, we have our meal. Our meal consists of any foods that come organically from the earth. We particularly eat potato, we eat grain, we eat pasta. Now, after we eat from like 1 to 6 p.m., we go back on the same regimen that we were at 6 to 12, which is nuts, hot water, fruit, and water. We eat from the earth organically only. If it don't come from the earth, we don't fuck with it.
I had high blood pressure. I'm still overweight, but I'm working on that. And I was taking medication for my heart, but I don't have that anymore.
This lady that's speaking, her name is Mama Dia. And Mama Dia, as you can hear, was on medication for her heart. And mind you, this cult leader was not a licensed medical physician. In all they get some understanding. And in everything you do, use wisdom. You don't just stop taking heart medication because you're eating more fruits and vegetables. That's something that, thank goodness for the advancement of science and technology. She had to have a cardiogram or echocardiogram, had to go and get tests done and get blood work drawn just to end up being diagnosed with a disease that led to her taking medication in the first place. But it's not something you stop cold turkey. You let your doctor put you on a regimen or a plan or diet that could hopefully lead to you not having to take any medication anymore. If it came down to a matter of just being overweight, then she could have lost the weight wherever she was and did the same thing and then eased off of the medication. But as you can see, he didn't try to correct anything that was scientifically incorrect in the actions and what was happening here of her saying, "Hey, I was on heart medication. I'm not taking it anymore." He should have intervened and said, "No. I don't want you all to think that you should just stop taking your heart medication. It depends on where you are. I'm not a licensed physician. There's no way for me to be able to do any echocardiogram or ultrasounds or anything of her heart to see exactly what condition is in. So I don't want anyone to walk away thinking they can just stop taking medications cold turkey. Let a licensed physician help you with that. My goal is just to help enhance your diet by introducing more fruits and vegetables and hot water and tea." That's all he could have said. Not lead to lifestyle changes that could cause or pose a hazard to someone's health. This is extraordinarily dangerous. So don't stop taking heart medication simply because you're eating more fruit. Work with your doctor. And let's thank God for the ability to be able to advance science and medicine to know what's going on the insides of our bodies, because I highly doubt that this cult leader ever understood how intricate his cardiovascular system is in the first place. Nor can he name every organ in his body or every blood vessel or every even pieces of heart tissue or muscle tissue in the heart itself. Probably couldn't tell you the major arteries that flow and are connected to the heart. He was not scientifically or, anatomically in tune with anything. You never heard him sit down and say, this is the size of a normal heart. This is how many times it beats a day, how much liters of blood is pumped through from one chamber to the next. Yeah, he never said anything that was scientifically based. So why trust someone like that can't tell you anything about the heart itself when it comes to not taking medication to keep your heart pumping properly and functioning properly? That's what people need to understand. This is what makes these cult leaders the con artists that they are, because they don't just tell the truth and try to consider the power and the weight in their words and the influence that it has and the damage that can be caused when you allow people to think that just because you're saying eat more fruits and vegetables and some nuts and some hot tea, that automatically equates to someone not taking heart medication. And need I remind you all, he didn't even pick her up or even organize or arrange anyone to pick her up from the airport. He left Mama Dia out to hang dry on her own, and she had to find her own way, get a taxi, a driver to get to that cult compound when she first joined. He didn't even do the courtesy of trying to, get someone. Any of these women, or, two or three of them could have went together and picked her up from the airport. They didn't even try. They left her to fend for herself. He never cared about her. This is why his evil ass is in jail for the rest of his life, plus 10 years.
More than grounded, eating the right on a B6 diet.
Before you get out into this nature that where we're at, you got to tap into your own nature. You got to tap into your human nature. If you want to go into isolation, remove any and all insulation that's blocking you from understanding and knowing who and what you truly are. This period of isolation should last about 30 to 90 days. That's typically how long it takes for you to reprogram your subconscious. Because remember, you're getting rid of all the bullshit that you've been programmed with in Babylon. We have over 600 videos on the channel. There's no excuse to why you shouldn't be filling up these 30 to 90 days with all that information, because there's mad information. There's plenty of information on there that you can reprogram your subconscious with.
Now, in that process of reprogramming your subconscious, you're going to go through some things. You're going to have to let go of all those hair dyes. You're going to have to let go of those showers. You're going to have to stop, if possible, stop giving your pot back. You're giving your soil back to the government. While you're in Babylon, you have to try and find a way to stop giving your pot back. If you can't, then so be it. But if you can, do it, because it's going to help you connect back to what you truly are.
Now it's time to catch the wave. Yes, it's a trend. Yes, it's a movement. Carbonation is a movement. We require you to move to your natural environment. We require you to sacrifice things that no longer serve you in your life. Get rid of detachments. Get rid of insulation.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed and transferred. You let go of your Babylon mother, guess what? You're going to find a virtuous mother. You got a Babylon brother, you let go of that motherfucker, you're going to find a soul brother, a virtuous.
Here's a question then. Why are you all spending money to rent houses? Why did I see a TV in there? How are they using internet to do these live stream videos? People who truly live in nature, they don't utilize electronics and any technology like that. And if they do, is absolute bare minimum, and it's still the rudimentary version of it, like, batteries. Why did I see TVs in those rooms, in that room where the Eliana was? How are they getting reception? See, these are the things that, like I said, the cults is just walking hypocrisies. You notice they say you have to isolate yourself from everyone else and from everything, detach yourself from things. That is standard cult-like mentality. They isolate you from anyone that could possibly tell you the truth or tell you any facts that exist on earth to help you understand that you're probably caught up in a cult. And let's not forget, one of these, this young man here. Let's go back. This young man here.
I have to stop, if possible, stop giving your...
He left a girlfriend and 2 children, his own 2 children, to go be in a cult. He felt like he needed to detach himself from 2 children who were innocent and did nothing wrong to him. They didn't ask to be born. See, children can't help who their parents are. But he left these 2 girls, these 2 children. I don't know if it was a boy and a girl or 2 girls, and a girlfriend that he got pregnant twice. How was he paying child support or aiding with supporting the upbringing of those children again? She probably would not have even been able to serve him with documents to put him on child support because they didn't sit still. But they want you to think that they were so responsible. This is reckless. and dangerous. And these are the things that people should take note when it comes to this cult-like personality, cult-like behavior and mentality. It has to be the most irresponsible thing to do as a father that already had 2 children to leave them behind and they come to a cult and they want to talk about having a queen and having more kids. You're not taking care of the other 2 that you already have that's still left in the United States of America. The hypocrisy is staggering.
Pot back, you're giving your soil back to the government. While you're in Babylon, you have to try and find a way to stop giving your pot back. Don't, if you can't, then so be it. But if you can, do it, because it's going to help you connect back to what you truly are.
Now it's time to catch the wave. Yes, it's a trend. Yes, it's a movement. Carbonation is a movement. We require you to move to your natural environment.
Social media trend.
We require you to sacrifice things that no longer serve you in your life. Get rid of detachments. Get rid of insulation.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed and transferred. You let go of your Babylon mother, guess what? You're going to find a virtuous mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you Babylon brother, you let go of that motherfucker, you're going to find a soul brother, a virtuous brother. And vice versa, and period. And that's that. You're not attached to these people. The only thing that bonds you is frequency. Point blank, period.
Some might have on their minds about, sickness, heart problem, high blood pressure, things like that, getting to the doctor, things like that. Naturally, there's a fear, especially if you're going somewhere you've never been before, or you don't have any family there. People who are retired or maybe living on a fixed income, just want to let you know that your income will go longer here because it's reasonable to live here. If you come to the tropics, between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, you are going to heal yourself. I've been here 2 months and a week. And when I first came, I took like half of my medicine, half of the pills, and I skipped days, a couple of days at a time, and take half. And then, like in 2 weeks, I wasn't taking any before.
Just knowing science and medicine, she doesn't look well. You see one eye is not opening wider than the other. You see there's some, delayed breathing. She sounds like she's short of breath and she's stammering a little bit. I mean, it is heartbreaking to know that she was not even taking medication she was prescribed, but they have the audacity to use fucking internet or to have televisions in the rooms. But telling her taking her heart medication, though, somehow went against some idea or principle where they're all being hypocritical to it. Detach yourselves from the children you chose to procreate and make, but then you'll go out and have some sort of virtual connection with other children that aren't yours. But yet the 2 children you chose to procreate and make with someone else need you, did nothing wrong to you, and you still deserted them. And you can tell she doesn't look well. You don't need to be a doctor to see this. Look at her face. She didn't look well doing this video. You're talking about 2.5 months of not having really taken her medication as prescribed. This is absolutely dangerous. And it's like a slow deterioration. I don't want to say slow death, but a deterioration, more so than anything. God knows what her heart was going through and the pressure that it was under to function without the medication needed. She could have had issues that extend beyond a diet and eating more fruit here. What if it was genetics? What if it was something that was attributed to some sort of a, defect that she may have been born with? Who knows? I'm not saying it is. I'm just, theorizing. It could be a myriad of reasons as to what led to her having to be on, heart medication. This is madness. And this is what cults do. Unfortunately, it changed her life for the worst. And that cult leader, who's in prison for the rest of his life, plus 10 years, did not care. Because he's a narcissist that cares about nothing and no one but himself. This is the danger that these cults and these cult leaders pose upon humanity.
I did that before when I lived in America, and oh my goodness, it answered 3 weeks, and I couldn't even hardly walk a block. That's how bad that was. But evidently, my body has been healing. I just wanted to share that, for those who might be ill, you have to put trust, faith in the universe to take care of you, and it will.
The Palenque location will be a pivotal part in the Nature Boy / Carbonation story. Shortly before arriving, Serenity, Shiva, and Eliana would all get pregnant. They would spend most of their time pregnant here. It would also be here that Nature Boy started wearing American Indian headdress and started referring to himself as Chief.
My soul is from here in these lands in Central America. So I feel most at home here. We were always from here. You know what I mean? Like Africa and all the lands was one land, you know? And some of us was in certain regions. And I'm from this region. This is where my land is at. This is my land. You know what I mean? I'm a chief in Mexico. I was the top Indian here.
Palenque is also where carbonation would start to become more militant. The members were taught to stand at attention whenever Nature Boy came into their presence.
Over this time in Palenque is when it started to get very structured and ordered. It stopped being about he's the master teacher and it started being about he's the chief, the commander-in-chief of the Earth plane.
I am Master Teacher, Nature Boy, Commander-in-Chief of the Earth plane.
When he walks in the room, we have to stand up with our hands behind our back. It's starting to get very militant. When we have a meeting, we have to stand at attention the entire time.
Even more cold.
Unless he tells us at ease, which is when we can sit down.
Some members say it was True's idea to implement military discipline to the group.
When True came, he's the one that introduced the militants. He came from the military. He self-introduced and initiated us standing at attention when he came in the room.
What's wrong with being conditioned? I was a soldier in Babylon. I'm a soldier wherever I am. It's a part of my program. I go hard. I ain't come here to be liked. I didn't come here.
Now, you hear the hypocrisy in this. If you're detaching yourself from the things of Babylon, allegedly, or the things that you've been conditioned to learn, to think that should not be a part of your life, why would you carry that principle on? Why would you carry something like that onward? You came from a military that is a man-made construct here, right? Why would you bring this type of behavior to a cult if you're detaching yourself from your life and the things you've learned from your life previous to joining the cult? Then why did the cult leader agree to that? Why didn't he say, no, this is not a military? We're not going to start acting like we're in the military. But see, you know why he didn't? Because look what happened. It turned his ego got even more inflated. He's a narcissist. And now he calls himself the chief. And this is how he ends up getting to the point as we go along in these series where he starts to purport himself like, you know, some godlike status. It has everything has a starting point here. And since it was not nipped in the bud, this is show 5. By show 36, you'll see why. The longer you allow someone to sit here and to have that much control and dominion over your life, the more reckless it becomes. And the less, you know, independence and free will and free thought you end up having. This was not a military group. It was supposed to be some sort of a spiritual code of something where they eat fruit. I mean, had nothing to do with any military type behavior.
To make friends. I didn't come here to entertain.
Besides the headdress and military style discipline, the Palenque location would also be remembered for something tragic. It would become the scene of an ill-fated event that quite possibly could have been avoided. On June 27, 2018, only 3 weeks after moving to Palenque, Mama Dia would be found unresponsive in her tent.
She was taking her heart medication for years, and she didn't like the way she told us that she didn't like the way it made her feel.
She don't want to take those pills because they make her feel drowsy and she don't want to take them. She's good. She know what she got going on. We don't know. We just met this lady.
Somebody was like, yo, where Mama Dia at? And it was like, go check on Mama Dia. That's when Natural and I can't remember who went with them. We went to go check on it. They came back. It was like, she ain't looking too good. I was like, what you mean? So everybody walked outside, and as we walked in, everybody just was standing around the tent. So I unzipped it, see what was going on. I looked in there. She's laying there. I hop in, go check everything. I'm like, she was already gone. It was like she died throughout the night. So I guess she died in her sleep. They said it was like a mini like heart attack. From what I heard, she was having pains prior to it happening, and she complained. She said she complained about her leg, something like leg pain or something.
She was showing symptoms of not being well for like a week. And the day before she died, she came to me. I was sitting down, and she was like, "Look at my leg." And she had this big vein in her leg, like an artery or something. I was like, "You need to go tell." I think Chief, that was what we call him. You need to go tell him about that. She was like, "I ain't gonna tell him. All you gonna do is tell me the ground, and I need to have sex." And I was like, "Well, what you want me to do?" I was like, "I think you need to let him know what's going on with that, you know." And that was it. The next day, she was gone.
She came to me and she said,
"No, they should have called 911 and took her to the local hospital. He's not a doctor. These cult leaders aren't what they purport themselves to be. They're not God. They're not a doctor. They're not a psychologist or psychiatrist. They're not half the time not even smart or consistent. Was it too much to just take her to the hospital? If you're going to sit here and say, we didn't know who she had. We barely knew her. They damn sure didn't care because they didn't even pick her up from the airport, might I add. But they should have. What was so bad about taking her to the hospital? You're going to see him detach yourselves the moment something tragic like this happens and she's found unresponsive and deceased in a tent. Why was she sleeping out on the ground in a tent? He treated her like the house nanny. It's disgusting.
She said, my leg is hurting. And I said, have you been taking your medicine? She said, yeah, I'll take it every now and then. But only when I feel like I need to. I was like, well, if you took your medicine and you still feeling, some kind of way, I think you should just ground. Or if you really feel like something is wrong, you should talk to Nature Boy because he has the control. I felt her fear of going to Nature Boy and even talking to him about taking her to the doctor or taking medicine or whatever it is that she needed. And she didn't do nothing. And by the time you know it, she passed away.
And so at that point, we proceeded to load her onto a van and try to take her to the hospital. And we had issues with that because they were having like a blockade of a protest in Palenque.
The hospital would not take the body. They said take her to the coroner. We took the body to the coroner. Rambo and Key went there.
Me and Rambo was the ones that was out with her at the time. So we get her to the autopsy room. It was like nothing that we can do other than get this process going.
They got her body, did the autopsy and all that stuff.
So we contact the police. So we give them her wallet, her passport, and some paperwork that she had. We gave it over to the cops. So the police, we went to the police station.
Then we contacted her family.
I think it was her daughter, I want to say, was talking to Nature Boy specifically. So nobody there was a part of that conversation.
We received a phone call in the morning from Eligio Bishop stating that my mother had passed away during the night. I had contacted the Honduran consulate in Mexico, which is standard protocol. If someone who is traveling overseas or out of the country encounters a crime or a situation, such as my mom did, she passed away, and the report officially says through heart issues. However, the details of what caused those issues have not really been shared by the individuals that were there with my mom. Eligio, as well as Rambo, Natural, Velvet, Shiva, Tron, they were all individuals that were there. And when I asked for anyone's real name, I ended up getting all these nicknames. So Rambo claims to have contacted the police when my mother died, but he said he did not get the police report number or the officer's name. Eligio turned in my mother without any clothing, and also not including any of her belongings to leave with her when they delivered my mother's body to the morgue.
Wow.
When I asked Eligio multiple times to mail my mother's ID, birth certificate, phone, and personal items to me, he said no, they are all keeping it.
The family would set up a GoFundMe page to have Mama Dia's body sent back to Honduras, but it would never reach its $5,000 goal. Nevertheless, her body would be sent back.
So they came to the coroner, they got the body and flew the body back to Honduras to have a funeral.
Just 7 days after her death, she would be laid to rest beside her mother.
Rest in power to her. She's great. She's amazing.
Although Nature Boy taught that death didn't exist, the loss of Mama Dia impacted the group profoundly.
You think that Mama Dia thinks that she's dead? Mama Dia don't think she's dead. She never will die because she's conscious and she's always in the now. Life is a dream.
I know I understand we have divine knowledge of self. You know what I mean? We understand life and death. We have a deeper understanding about these things than most people. Yeah, but why does it still feel like, you know what I mean? Like we lost somebody.
My mom was a very active person before she arrived there. Sure, she did vegan eating before she arrived. She did vegetarian eating before she left to go there. But she was also a manager of a store.
There you go. See, she was already eating healthy. She was a vegan. She was taking her medication. There was nothing that this cult leader could have taught her regarding changing her diet and eating healthy that would have changed the situation about her heart condition, especially when he himself said he did not know what was going on. He barely knew her. Then why keep her belongings? Mail her ID and information and everything back to her daughter then. Why keep it? Why keep belongings like that of someone that you claim you barely know? See, this is what I mean by the hypocrisy. And narcissists don't care. You know, these narcissists and psychological or pathological liars, they don't care if, they believe their own lies. They just want others to believe their lies. Because that's the point. The point is to get you to believe their lie. And that's it. And if they can achieve that goal, then they're going to achieve that goal. This is disgusting. Why keep her items? And then it submitted her body over with no clothing on it. Why take the time to undress her if you felt like you didn't do anything wrong?
For 6 days a week, she traveled across the country a couple of times in the last year before she left.
There are videos that I've seen with my cousin where she definitely seems happy. She definitely seems to be appreciating her experience. But one thing I know for sure, different than most of the other people that I see involved, is the idea of nature and going to paradise is not something that my cousin needed. We're from paradise. Guguroatan, Honduras. That's where we're from, right? So she didn't need a nature boy to bring her to that, like many other people may have needed. She was there for the message.
She was a woman that was older, that was really looking for some type of healing. She was really just really royal, man. She just had a good spirit about her. She used to take care of me like a fucking mother, like real shit. Having lunch with me, she was just really, really attentive toward me for whatever reason. I just, and I appreciated that.
It was just like an unfortunate situation of her passing while she was there, and
they have
we dealt
no
with it the best
remorse
way
as
we
they
could.
talk
She
about
was really
this.
one of us, like as far as a cult member in that incarnation. Like she believed in it. We didn't believe in taking medicine or anything like that. But I think it might have been keeping her alive. We can assume that if she had this heart condition for over 10 years and she was still living.
I didn't know the facts of it, like as far as her being on the medication and stuff like that. That was a conversation that she was having personally with Nature Boy.
She left with about 2 months worth of medication with her. And so she was definitely planning on taking care of her health, even if she was trying out some different eating methods. That was never her intention to just throw everything away and feel like she was at the end of her life, because she wasn't. My mother was only 59 years old.
I didn't know about no heart issues at all. When she got here, people told me she had pills.
And I remember her coming, getting out of the cab, and we going through her stuff. That's what we
Of course,
did.
he's gonna lie.
And then we saw the medicine, and we said, you need to go take this to him to let him know that you got this. And he was like, she was like, okay. So they went into the room, shut the door, they talked, come back out. That was it. There was no discussion.
She was tricked and conned out of her life. And it's sad.
My life journey has been interesting. Looking back from a little girl. It's been a spiritual quest the whole time, really. With a few bumps, which all life. This earth is an experience. We're here to experience, to live life, but a dream.
This is so heartbreaking. So this is the end here, and I just, oh my God. I'm almost at a loss of words. It's just appalling to see someone be so detached from emotions, to be such a narcissist, to be such a egotistical, lying piece of shit, to mistreat someone from day one that genuinely seemed to have cared for him and loved him, lying about her, telling him about her heart condition and the medication because he knew it would mess up what they said it was a trend. It was a social trend. This was never anything to take seriously. Cults are dangerous, but they're not. It's not a matter of being true to some message that helps people. It's just a matter of power and control. And you have one person at the helm of that, the leader, that is exerting all of their, narcissistic cult-like mentality and just sheer stupidity upon others, and convincing them that what he's saying and doing is somehow right, or, going to help them in their, positively grow or enhance who they are, or help them in their lives in any manner. And this is a consequence of that being unchecked. And then lie about not knowing about her heart condition or the medications, but then would, obviously he told her not to take the medications if they had this private conversation, because he knew it would hurt his so-called brand. The new people that come in, it's like a pyramid scheme. New people come in, they bring in their money and their resources, and it's just like a fresh body into a cult. And that's what he craved. You got to go in and give up all of your belongings, and it's just Jim Jones in the premise of how this was done. It was no different than Jim Jones and the people of Jonestown and that cult. And look what happened to them. Look how they ended up. This lady lost her life, but thankfully it wasn't a whole, just a complete taking out of people at one time. And now he's in jail for the rest of his life plus 10 years, but someone still lost their life. And that's not to be taken for granted. She was a mother, probably a grandmother, a sister, a cousin. People loved her. And he didn't care, because he saw her as someone that he could utilize to just kind of be, the mom of the house, probably cooked food and did all these things just for his benefit. And then his whole concern is don't get into a video telling people you're taking heart medication because it's going to hurt his brand. It hurts him getting out this dumb message about some diet of eating more fruits that she was already doing. And this is how dangerous cults can be when the message, is construed, and you have this cult leader that is absolutely hypocritical in every way and could care less about human life and the negative effect that it has, the danger that they posed, laws that they were breaking. They were kicked out of countries for violating laws, no regard for human life or laws or anything decent. So we're going to continue on in this series because this is what I hope that you guys can get an understanding, especially with this cult uprising in Harvey, Illinois. I mean, it needs to be stopped. And that is the point of these series, is to be able to recognize the signs and to see how dangerous they can be. These cults can be. And that it needs to be stopped. People are going to get hurt even more. And it's hard if you have a conscience to just sit back and watch this stuff unfold and not call it out for what it is. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you and your support. Make sure you are hitting the like button on these videos. It keeps the videos in the algorithm. And share these videos. Share the content. The Lady Luck Club is growing. Please subscribe and consider becoming a member. And we're going to go ahead into show 6 in the next video. This series, there is a playlist on my channel. And once again, make sure you check out Hood Horror's YouTube channel. Shout out to him for doing such great work. I just, like I said, want this information to be shared out to those, who support this platform. And even if you're not a subscriber, I hope you consider becoming one. But, at least get the message out. And, hopefully this will help some people and spare them from, a very dangerous situation. All right. So make sure you check the description of the video as well for the Dr. Squatch products that we have a partnership here with in the Lady Luck Club, and consider purchasing some Dr. Squatch products as well. Thank you all for all of this financial support for the supers, cash apps, the Zelle. Thank you so much for all that you guys do. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.